This is the short version for the story of Shuda Shells from Black Mob. Shuda Shells, whose real name was Cedron Doles, grew up on Black Mob territory, which is located on 74th to 75th and Phillips. Cedron went to elementary school on the 75th and South Shore. The years around 2004 to 2007 were very tough years for Shuda Shells. When Cedron was only 9 years old, his father was murdered in Chicago. 2 years later, when he was 11, he lost his mother due to natural causes. This is a very sad story. Only at the age of 11, Shuda Shells became an orphan. Because of this, he entered the criminal life fairly quickly. His older brother, King Scoobs, was already in that life. Already as a young kid in 6th grade, there were fights between different schools in the area, which was one of the reasons Black Mob and No Limit started beefing. However, they were not shooting at each other just yet. Older members of Black Mob and No Limit were still cordial and kept peace between the sets despite the younger members fighting each other. However, that would change in 2009. Vito from No Limit was out selling drugs in Black Mob's territory. He did this without paying taxes and also showed no further respect towards Black Mob. Vito was violated by Black Mob because of this and was chased away from their territory. Hellrel, who is currently running NLMB, told Vito he had to get revenge and shoot someone from Black Mob, which he did. The person he ended up shooting at was with his children. This was totally out of line with the street rules, and it was from there the expression NLNL originated, which stands for No Limit, No Law. This incident was the start of a long-running war between the two gangs. Because just a few days after that incident, the first body would be dropped between Black Mob and No Limit. Black Mob wanted revenge because of what Vito did, and it all ended with Vito getting killed by Boo from Black Mob. Boo is currently serving 60 years for the murder, and will be released in 2071. In the summer of 2013, the war between Black Mob and No Limit escalated. It was one of the bloodiest summers in history, and it was basically a war between Black Mob's top killer, Shuda Shells, and No Limit's top killer, Mad Max. Simo from No Limit was one of many members who slid almost every day on Black Mob that summer. What he used to do was to go lurking on Black Mob territory, and if he spotted any member, it was on sight. In order not to be taken by the police or not to be shot himself, he used to hide in stores or barber shops. It worked for the most part, but in the end he was caught after trying to hide in a store, not by the police, but by Black Mob and Shuda Shells in particular. On June 26, 2013, after sliding on Black Mob, Simo tried to hide in a store, but was thrown out by the store owner. SGH, Shoddy Hit, and Shuda Shells were out at the time and spotted him near the store. Shuda Shells ran up to him and shot him 16 times in the head and chest before fleeing the scene. This is why G Herbo rapped, "Let off 16, that's for Simo." Just 3 days later, No Limit and Mad Max in particular retaliated by killing Jordan from Black Mob, who was shot 3 times in the head outside a church. Isaac, pastor at the church, said Jordan came to him that week and said he would come to church on Sunday. Sunday morning, Jordan helped Isaac carry supplies into the office. He attended the service, but expressed uncertainty about joining the church. After the service, Jordan and Isaac's son walked to a corner store. Suddenly, shots started to ring off, and Jordan was killed. According to the pastor, a bullet was close to hitting his son. Fortunately, it did not. A little less than a week later, it was time again. Now it was Black Mob's turn to score again. Shuda Shells would yet again strike and get revenge for the murder of Hakeem from Black Mob by killing his alleged killer, Pistol P from NLMB. It is rumored that Shuda Shells, together with Shoddy Hit and AWOL, were out sliding, looking to get back after the death of Jordan. They spotted Pistol P in the 2400 block of East 79th Street. They pulled over, AWOL and Shuda Shells jumped out of the vehicle and shot Pistol P in the back, who managed to run around the corner into the 7900 block of South Phillips Avenue, where tragically collapsed due to his wounds. Only 25 days later, it was time again. Shuda Shells would catch his third body for the summer. This day, Shells was again out lurking with his right-hand man, Shoddy Hit. They spotted Richie Rich from NLMB. Shuda Shells emerged from an alley and ran up to Richie and shot him repeatedly in the head and neck before fleeing the scene. Shuda Shells together with Shoddy Hit was a deadly duo. They really terrorized No Limit that summer. Shuda Shells did not stop after Richie Rich. Only a week later, he would catch his fourth body in 2 months, Kobe from NLMB. Many have previously thought that it was KTS Vaughn who was behind this murder. Well, it seems to be false, since both Shells and AWOL from Black Mob were arrested for this murder, but were later released. Kobe had just been with Herbo, Cairo, and other No Limit members shooting dice. When Kobe was going home, he was asked if he wanted a ride home, but he didn't. He managed himself, he said. When he walked near McDonald's, a car pulled up. Shuda Shells shot him, which caused Kobe to fall to the ground. Shells then got out of the car and shot him multiple times in the head. Kobe Squad was created in his honor. Kobe's murder would not go unnoticed. Just 3 days later, Mad Max and EBK Juvie slid through Black Mob in a light-colored SUV and spotted 34-year-old Eric. Max and Juvie started letting shots from the car, and Eric was struck multiple times. Eric was later pronounced dead at the hospital. The murder of Eric ended the historical summer between Black Mob, and it actually calmed down for a while, much due to the fact that Shuda Shells got locked up. Shuda Shells was a high priority for the police in 2013. He was arrested for the murder of both Simo and Kobe, but was released due to lack of evidence. The police wanted him off the street. Since they could not find any sufficient evidence for the murders, they decided to raid his girlfriend's apartment where he resided. But in order to do this, they had to get a permit for the girl, which they got. This allowed them to find weapons and drugs that they could connect to Shuda Shells. This resulted in Shuda Shells getting booked and was not released until either the end of 2015 or the beginning of 2016. While Shells was in jail, NLMB shifted their focus to MTG. While Shuda Shells was locked up, he tragically lost his older brother, King Scoobs. However, it was not No Limit who killed him, as many believed from the beginning. The member who killed him was from ABK, a set that was once upon a time cordial with Black Mob. This changed in late May 2014, when Yogi drew the first blood by running up to Scoobs with no second thoughts, shooting him multiple times before fleeing the scene. Scooby Soldiers was created in his honor. The murder of Scoobs took a heavy toll on his brother Shuda Shells. He had now lost his mother, father, and brother, basically his entire family. There are no words that can describe what anger and sadness Shuda Shells went through in jail. Once Shuda Shells was released, he was constantly out looking for Yogi. He really wanted to get rid of him because of what he did to his brother. Eventually, after a long period of hunting, Shuda Shells would get his revenge. On June 27, 2016, Shuda Shells caught his fifth body. Yogi, 20, was outside with another man, 18, in the 7400 block of South Shore Drive. Shuda Shells, who was out in traffic, spotted them and jumped out of a vehicle, ran up to Yogi and the other man, and reportedly started shooting both. The 18-year-old man managed to escape after being shot in the armpit. Yogi, however, fell to the ground. Shuda Shells then stood over him and shot him repeatedly in the face before running back to the car. Just a year later, Shuda Shells would strike again. He would catch his sixth and final body, and his fifth on No Limit alone. I'm talking about the murder of Lil Wet's father, Big Wet from NLMB. Big Wet was walking on the sidewalk in the 7900 block of South Phillips. Suddenly, a dark vehicle drove up next to him. 4 men jumped out of the car and shot Wet in the right side of the stomach. Wet managed to avoid getting stood over and managed to take himself to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead 1 day later. The 4 men who jumped out of the car are rumored to be Shuda Shells, Trapmo, SGH, and Shaky from Black Mob. Big Wet, 37, was a documented gang member of No Limit. According to police, Big Wet has twice been arrested on murder charges back in the days. Big Wet also had nearly 4 dozen arrests during his lifetime, according to the police. As many of you already know, it was this murder that led to the quadruple murder of 4 Sino City members just 24 hours later, in which Big Wet's son, Lil Wet, was arrested for. However, Wet 'em Up was released 3 years later due to lack of evidence. On April 6, 2017, Shuda Shells released his by far most famous and most acclaimed song. Of course, I'm talking about the song Death of 150. The song was incredibly scornful and disrespectful. He starts the song with a pretty clear mockery of rapper G Herbo, where he rapped, "I see your rapping ass, don't wanna shoot. To get to you, I had to step in the booth." He also mocked ABK Yogi with the line, "2 shots to the face, then give them 2 more to the head." However, he topped this by ending the song by saying, F Lil Herb, F Fazo, F Vito, F Rock, F Simo, F Pistol P, F Kobe, F Capo, and F the whole 150. The reason why this song has received so much attention is not only because of the dissing, but also because just 3 months later, Shuda Shells was murdered in one of the most brutal ways possible. July 10th, 2017, Shuda Shells' life would tragically come to an end when he was murdered in broad daylight, a hit that would go down as one of the dirtiest kills in Chicago in a long time. Shuda Shells was about to get into his car in the Auburn-Gresham community when 3 men exited a white Nissan Altima and opened fire on that July morning. One of them was Mad Max from NLMB, which has been confirmed in police reports. Max and the 2 other shooters ran up to Shuda Shells and shot him repeatedly in his body and head. As he fell to the ground, it is rumored they took turns shooting him in the head. Shuda Shells was approximately shot between 15 and 18 times in the head. It was horrific. Half of his head was entirely shot off. The 3 men then jumped into the car and sped away from the scene. Police recovered 43 shell casings near his body. In the autopsy report performed by Dr. Akers, it was said the amount of gunshot wounds Shells suffered from were too many to document. The murder is still being investigated by the FBI, who has been commissioned to investigate the year-long back-and-forth violence between Black Mob and No Limit. However, no arrests have been made. The only suspect named in the report was Mad Max, who was killed in 2018, allegedly by Hellrel from Lakeside, who was arrested for the murder but was recently released on bond. It's been speculated that at least one of the 2 other offenders in the murder of Shuda Shells were from ABK. Much of this speculation is based on the fact that Shuda Shells murdered Yogi, and that ABK therefore wanted revenge. The theory is also based on the fact that Black Mob, and Shoddy Hit in specific, started terrorizing ABK after the murder. In summary, this is a very sad story about a child who lost both of his parents early on in life. He became a product of his environment, started getting active in the street, destroying other families and lives, expressed himself through the music, in which he was very talented, and then tragically, brutally murdered by the top killer from the enemy side. Shuda Shells stated himself in the song Real Ones that he got 5 bodies with the line, "I'm taking my count alone, I got a whole nick." However, members like Lil Art and FBG Bigga have recently stated that you would need 2 hands to match his count. This was the short story of Shuda Shells. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.